We will move to the next question, which was asked in the mains exam of 2025. So this question is about explain how the changes in shape and sizes of the continents and ocean basins of the planet took place due to tectonic movements of the crustal masses. Now once again, a straightforward question out of the plate tectonics, and definitely it is part and parcel of the geophysical phenomena, geomorphological aspects. So very important, straightforward question, right? You can talk about broadly the summary of plate tectonics. You can introduce in your introduction, because they are not asking about define anything. They are straight away asking the impact of plate tectonics. So as I told you, every question before we write introduction, body, conclusion, you brainstorm, you get your points. It will be endless. By the time you hear around 8 to 10 questions from me, you would hear this word brainstorm accordingly that many times, because that's a very important point for your life. Brainstorm. Now, with respect to once you brainstorm and all, what should be the introduction? For me, the method of introduction for this question is very simple. Introduction is straightforward, somewhat like significance or summary of plate tectonics is what I can write. Okay, right? You can talk about that. So, for example, we can say straightforward. Earth's lithosphere is divided into many plates. Earth's lithosphere is divided into many plates. Because it is 250 words, I have some space. Divided into many plates. Okay, divided into rigid plates that move over the oceans and continents. Divided into many plates that move over we can say that move over the molten asthenosphere. Right? Many plates that move over molten asthenosphere, driven by forces like, if you are aware about the plate tectonics forces, you can mention these. Otherwise, you can straight away remove this point and connect. So you can talk about the forces like the slab pull, right? Slab pull, ridge push, right? Slab pull, ridge cues, and all these aspects. So slab pull, mantle convection, ridge push. We have discussed slab pull as part of the plate boundaries, ridge push, right, as part of the seafloor spreading, right, which will help in crustal masses to move, right? Right. So Earth's lithosphere is divided into many plates that move over molten atmosphere with driven by forces like slab pull, mantle convection, and ridge push. Such forces will lead to changes in shape, size of continent. Changes in shape, size of continents and ocean basins. Now, in a way, you have given the introduction as a summary of the topic of plate tectonics. Then what are they asking? They are asking questions about how are the changes in shape and sizes of the continents are happening both in the ocean basins as well as the continent because of the tectonic movement. So there is one method. You can mention about each plate boundary, divergent plate, and you can mention about how it is impacting continent, how it is impacting oceans. Then you can mention divergent. Remember, in my classes, I tend to give you a summary of plate tectonics, the forces and the impact. That is what you need to mention it here. So straight away, they're asking about such kind of things, right? In divergent plates, as two plates try to move away from each other, In case if it happens on a continental thing, it will lead to breakup of the continent. It will lead to creating of rift valleys, breakup of the continent. And you can mention this point, rift valleys and breakup of the continent. You can give an example also, the East African Rift Valley. You can see this. In future, if the East African Rift Valley, if the rift keeps on happening in future, it will help in terms of dividing the present size of the African continent into two parts, where you will create a new plate, right? So this is caused by rifting. So future map, you can mention that, you can draw the map of Africa. You can say that you can identify the rift valley here along this line, right? And you can say that this would be separated, causing for a new continent, right? Straight away you draw the map of Africa. And you can mention it as future separation. You can simply mention it in that way, right? So that you can talk about that. And then oceans, how does the changes in shape and sizes of the continents in the oceans will take place? You can talk about the mid-oceanic ridge at the divergent plate. The mid-oceanic ridge continues to widen the Atlantic Ocean. You can talk about that. It is helping in terms of widen the Atlantic Ocean. See, very straightforward question asked in the exam. Divergent plates, when two plates move away from each other, that's called the divergent plate. If such divergence occurs on a continent, that continent would spread apart. The reason why Pangaea broke up. So you can give that example also. Why Pangaea broke up is also because of the same idea. And that Pangaea broke up, that led to formation of minor seas and eventually major seas. How do you think that Atlantic Ocean was developed? The Atlantic Ocean was developed also because of the Pangaea broke up. You can mention that led to formation of Atlantic Ocean over a period of time. So, see, when you are asking about this question, because geological structures takes place years of development, the changes in shape and sizes, you can give a future reference, you can give a past reference also. Future and past. Presently what varies? Nothing has varied over the last 100 years much, no? In plate tectonics and all, you don't find large scale variations within few decades. You will find variations over some decent number of millions or some decent number of years, at least 200, 300, 400, 500 years, there would be some change which you can see, right? So this is the aspect you can talk about the divergent plate. Then similarly, you can mention about the convergent plate. Convergent plate. Now, as two plates slide past, as two plates move towards each other, that might lead to impact of, for example, subduction. Because of subduction, you tend to see that new islands are created. You will see that oceans are shrinking. So you will find all these kind of impact, right? Oceanic plate subducts, new island arc formations, that you can talk about. You can talk about what do you say? In case of an ocean continental, you can talk about the Nazca plate with respect to the South American Andes mountains. You can talk about that, shaping the structures, because exactly at that point, the continental plate and the oceanic plate is subducting into the continental plate, shaping the changes of the continent of South America. So convergent plate, you can talk about subduction. Similarly, this example you can give you the Nazca South America plate. The Nazca South America plate, it led to impact on subduction, and that impact of subduction has changed the South American continent by having the Andes mountains as the edges, right? Then you can talk about continental collision, how do land continents can increase their size, as for example, as Indian plate in collision with respect to the Eurasian plate. Now you have seen that Indian plate slowly got merged with respect to the Eurasian plate. So can I say that size of the continent increased here? Especially yes, obviously size of the continent has increased because you have plastered the sections by the continental collision, right? You see that over a period of time, over millions of years, as oceans subduct, there will be ocean bodies will shrink. You can talk about that. Ocean bodies will shrink, ocean basins will shrink. So over a period of subduction, you can say that ocean bodies would shrink, and over a period of time that might lead to over millions of years, you will see that that complete ocean can be submerged, right? There might be a possibility that oceans might disappear. That also might happen. See, as the ocean keep on subducting into the other plate, there is a possibility over millions of years that ocean basins would shrink. This is what you can give the example. You can also mention about one line with respect to the aspect of the other plate, transform plate, but they hardly bring a change to the shape and size of the continent because they only create some kind of crustal disturbance rather than displacement, because they only create some kind of a fault based landscapes, some earthquakes, hardly deformation or creation of the crust. So that you can mention as one line, not more, because they don't signify much. Now conclusion. What will you write a conclusion for this question? You can say that such changes in the shapes and such changes in the shapes and sizes of continents and oceans, shapes and sizes of continents and oceans will will show how the earth is a dynamic unit, how the earth is a dynamic unit frequently shaped by plate tectonics. You can mention that, or you can say another kind of a conclusion. Such dynamic forces has revealed how the earth has variations of size and shapes of the continents of the ocean basins in the present, in the past, as well as they will give you an idea of the future. We can also mention that. My dear, think. Don't assume that just because you got one conclusion right, you got it right everything. Think. Give wonderful examples of here and there. Try to see what can you do well, right? Always try to find differential factor. Differential factor. Mention such kind of differences. Those are very, very important. I hope you all got the point, right? This is about the question of changes in shape and sizes of the continents that took place because of tectonic movements of the crustal masses.